Okay. Till last class, we had discussed the model building approach and the daily volatility. We to finish last 3 4 slides. We'll finish that and we'll start with value at risk problems today. So the linear model. Now these are just, it may come for just three marks or so. So very little information I have put. The daily change in the value of a portfolio is linearly related to daily returns from market variables. So if you have a portfolio of shares or bonds or currency or interest rate, the value of your portfolio changes if there is change in the market variables. Like suppose you have a portfolio of shares, if the share prices in the market changes, your portfolio value changes. If you have portfolio of bonds, if the bond prices in the market changes, your portfolio changes. So we are trying to say that your portfolio is linearly related to the market variables. Linearly means if the market variables move upward, portfolio also moves upward. So they are linear in nature. It's not inverse. If this is going up, that will also go up. If the market variables come down, the portfolio also will come down. The return from the market variables are normally distributed. So we use the normal distribution. There are different distributions you might have studied in statistics: binomial, Poisson, normal. So usually when we calculate value at risk, we assume that there is a normal probability distribution. The normal probability curve, I hope you know. At the center it is 0.5 and on the other end it is minus, this side it is plus. So whatever is the value, it is distributed normally. So we use the normal distribution curve. The return from the market, yeah, they are normally distributed and it can be used for portfolio of stocks. So in that case, your market variable will be the share price of the stock, or you can use this linear model for portfolio of bonds. You can use it for forward contracts on foreign currencies, or it can also be used as interest rate swap. So linear model can be used for all these kind of portfolios that you own. The next is quadratic model. In case of a quadratic model, when a portfolio includes options, that this is used for an option. Now I have not taught you options still, so this you may not get into in detail now. When I go to the chapter of options, you will understand this better. I'll just still read it out to you. When a portfolio includes options, delta P is nothing but the value of the portfolio, is not literally related to the percentage change in the market variable. So here they say when it is an options, everything doesn't depend on the market variable. So you cannot say it is linear. If the market prices increase, portfolio value will increase or decrease. So it is not literally related to the percentage change in market variable. From knowledge of gamma of the portfolio, we can derive an approximate quadratic relationship between delta P and percentage change in market variables. So here they say, if you know the value of gamma, now what is gamma? Gamma will tell you how your price of the option contract is changing because of change in the market variables. So using that gamma value, you can find out what percentage change in market variables will lead to a certain amount of change in the option, or it will tell you by how much if the market variable changes, what would be the change in the option. Like if the market variable changes by 1 rupee, the option value may change by 50 paise. So it is giving you that answer of 50 paise. Or you can say if the market variable changes by 100%, the options will change by 50%. So how to calculate gamma, that there is a formula for it. So when we do that module of options, there you will understand how to do that. Then the next is the Monte Carlo simulation. This also helps in finding the value at risk. Now, what is Monte Carlo simulation? In case of Monte Carlo simulation, we use some random numbers and we prepare a portfolio, or we prepare a list of prices of the shares. Now, these random numbers will be given, or they are already available in many books and also on the net. So what we do is we actually see the portfolio, the value of the portfolio in the past are seen. Random numbers are associated to it, and then whatever comes the random number, we are going to use that and create a list or a simulation, real life like situation. So we'll create a list of prices which are real life like situation. For example, suppose that the price of a portfolio in the past was 50 rupees. So you say that if the random number comes from 0 to 9, Then I will assume the price to be 50 rupees. Then suppose the next day the price was 55 rupees. So you will say that if the random number comes from 10 to 19, I will use this price. So from 0 to 99, we give the random numbers. So we to each of the prices that we have taken from the past. I'll try to show you one small example here. Okay, so suppose I say that past prices and random numbers. So you're saying suppose the price is 50, 55, 58, 48, 60, 79, and maybe 65. So now if the random 0 to 9 are the random numbers for the price 50, then 10 to 19, then 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 62, 69, like this till 100 we have, till 99 we have to do. So some more prices can be added. Okay, now I want to know what are the next 10 days price. So I'm actually simulating, that means creating a real life situation. So if I have a set of random numbers, I'll show that in the next slide. So if you have a set of random numbers given, which you will get on the in the textbooks, like table values, or you will get it on internet also, the random numbers are created and they're available. So suppose I say my random numbers, and here simulated prices. So you're telling what can be the future prices. You're creating a real life kind situation of the future. So suppose the random numbers are 19, 48, 52, 70. We have till 69, no? So I'll take within that only 65, then 28, 56, and 45. So if these are the random numbers, now 19, the random number 19 comes when the price is 55. So 10 to 19. So 55 will be the price for the first day. Similarly, next random number is 48. So we will check where is the random number 48. From 40 to 49, the price is 60. So like this, you simulate the prices. You're finding the future prices. Okay. Now let's see what is the theory of that Monte Carlo simulation. The first step is to value portfolio today in usual way using the current value of market variables. So whatever is the value today, you value it as it is. So suppose today the share price is 50 rupees. So that is the value of the share today. Second, sample once from the multivariate normal probability distribution of the delta xi. So here they are telling you, you simulate, you find the sample of the future prices that you want to have. Then use the delta xi to determine market variables at the end of one day. So once you have past prices and prepared random numbers, using random numbers that are taken or selected, find the price for the first day. Now, next step, revalue the portfolio at the end of the day in usual way. Subtract the value in step 1 with the value in step 4. Step 1 was what value you found out as it is for today's day, and step 4 was to do random numbers and find the value again. Okay, so in my step 1 I told you to assume today's value of the portfolio to be 50. Suppose you have calculated and it is 50. So today's value is 50 and the simulated value as per what I have futuristic assumption, it is 55. So we're doing 50 minus 55. So you get a loss of 5 rupees too. So this is how you can simulate using simulated or creating a real life kind price value, you can actually find the value at risk. So if I do that, my 5 rupees is my loss. So you need to do this. Subtract the values calculated in step 1, that was the actual value, from the simulated value, which is in step 4. Repeat step 2 and 5 many times, so you get a range of values. So again I will do, suppose second day the price was 62, and then I see the random number and the value 60. So 62 minus 60, second day your loss is minus 2. So what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to value the portfolio depending upon the losses, and here we also use the normal distribution table. So here I'll calculate this for suppose 100 days. So if someone wants to know at 95% confidence level what is the value of that particular portfolio, then I'll do 100 minus 95. So 5 I'll get. So fifth day, whatever is the value that I've simulated, I'll minus it with the today's value. I'll get to know what is the loss. If I want to know 99% confidence level, 100 minus 99, first day or first one percentile, whatever is the value, that I'll take. If I do 100 minus 98, the second 2 percentile. So second day, whatever is the simulated value minus 50, I'll get the value at risk. So here we also use the normal distribution table, where at what confidence level we are trying to tell that this will be the value at risk can be calculated. So this was just the basic. I hope you have understood, because to teach you simulation and all, I need to actually do the sums, which is not possible. This is just to make you understand what is simulation and how you can find the value at risk. So that was about Monte Carlo simulation. The next is stress testing. It can be stress testing. Now the word itself says you need to check the extreme levels or the stress level that is there with your portfolio. So it can be considered as a way of taking into account extreme events that do occur from time to time, but that are virtually impossible according to probability distribution. So theoretically, according to probability distribution, certain things are impossible, but they have occurred in certain time periods. So we call them as extreme events. This involves testing how will a portfolio perform under some of the most extreme market moves in the last 10 to 20 years. So if you have a portfolio of 5 lakh rupees today at today's stock market values or the index value. So you will test how your portfolio will perform when it went to its lowest, so extreme low. For example, to test the impact of an extreme movement in US equity price, a company might set the percentage change in all market variables equal to those on October 19, 1987, when the S&P 500 moved by 22.3 standard deviation. So on that date in 1987, the S&P index, which is the US index, fell down very drastically. That was the worst fall. Now, if you compare your portfolio for that day's prices, so what were the market prices that day? If you consider that and revalue your portfolio, you will get to know if that worst, if the market falls, how much you can lose maximum. Let us take in Indian context. In 2008, there was a financial crisis and the stock market had literally fallen down like anything. Now it is 40,000 and all those, but that time it had gone to 20 or 18, 19 or 14,000 also. So in that worst situation, how will my portfolio today would have performed? So today at the maybe the market price of uh, Infosys is 1350. At that time in that worst situation, maybe the price was 800. So how much I am losing? So today my portfolio value is 1350, but in the worst case it was 800. So what is the maximum loss? Why we are doing stress testing? So that we get to know if that situation occurs again, that much worse if the market becomes again, how much is that I'm going to lose. So you're finding the value at risk at the worst situation, or you're actually finding how bad can things go. So it can go as bad as it was that. So there are, in the history there are certain extreme events where the markets have fallen very badly. So you test your portfolio with that event. On that day, what were the share prices, or at that period, what was the prices? You compare your today's portfolio with that, and you get to know how much maximum you're losing. Okay, another example, if this was too extreme of 1987, then 1988 the deviation was 6.8%. That means the market fell by 6.8%. So you can compare that. So I hope you understood what is stress testing. It's nothing but comparing your today's portfolio with the worst that has happened in the past. That is the extreme that has happened, which actually no one had predicted, and according to the probability distribution, normal distribution, that bad things cannot go, but it has happened in the past. So that was stress testing. Next is the back testing. In case of back testing, back means going backward. So we are just testing a portfolio with the past data, not the extreme event, not how bad thing had gone, not that, but just in the last 10 days, last 100 days, how the prices were, and if my portfolio had to be compared with that in the back or in the past, how much I would have lost or how much I would have gained. When I check that, I basically do back testing. So test how well value at risk estimates would have performed in the past. We could ask the question, how often was the actual 10-day loss greater than the 99% 10-day value at risk? So you calculated value at risk and you got to know this is the maximum loss that I can have. Now you need to check how often you had the same loss or it was more than that loss. So you're just checking your today's portfolio with the past. That is back testing. Whereas in case of stress testing, you check it with the past, but you check only the extreme event where things went worst and you check your portfolio at that stage. So this was the theory of fifth unit. We've completed the theory. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll do the problems on value at risk. Okay. So let's start with the problems. Value at risk. Now, when we're doing value at risk problems, I told you that we use the normal distribution to calculate the value at risk. So we need certain table values wherein we can find at 99% confidence level, 98 or 95% confidence level, what are the table values that we need to use to solve these problems. Now, because it's going online and I cannot give you those table values, so what I will do is I'll give you the values at 99%. What is the table value? 98, 95. How to see the table and find it? When we go for offline class, I will show you that. But as of now, we need to solve this. So I'll give you the values so you get to know how those values are used in the problem. So at 99% confidence level, the normal distribution table value is minus 2.3. How to see this value in the table? I'll teach you once we are meeting face to face. Okay, then at 98% confidence level, the table value is minus 2.06. And at 95% confidence level, the table value is minus 1.65. Sometimes in exam they'll give you in the question the table values. Sometimes you need to look at the tables and find it. Or maybe you remember these three values correctly and go, because usually the question is asked at 99% confidence level only. Sometimes they ask for 98 and 95. So these are the three majorly repeated values that have been asked. So remember this, we are going to do sums on the basis of this. Okay, so let's start with the first problem. Compute the value at risk of for the portfolio from the following data. So they've given you Microsoft shares. Investment in that shares is 1 crore. Daily volatility is 2%. Then there is an investment in AT&T shares, AT&T company shares. Investment in those shares are 50 lakh and daily volatility is 1%. When we say portfolio, we cannot invest in only one share. Portfolio consists of investment in multiple shares, bonds, gold, and all those. So then it becomes a portfolio. So here they have given you a portfolio which has two shares, Microsoft and AT&T, and what is the investment in that, and what is the daily volatility of both the shares. The return on two shares has a bivariate normal distribution. So we are going to use the normal distribution table values. So here I've given you the table values. Correlation between the two portfolios is 0.3. N is 1 day. So you are finding 1 day value at risk at 99% confidence level. So 99% confidence level table value is here Find out the value at risk for single security and value at risk for the portfolio. So they are asking you for Microsoft what is value at risk, you find separately. For AT&T what is the value at risk, find it separately. And finally for both put together as a portfolio, what is the value at risk we have to find. So let's start. First we will find it for Microsoft. Now how are we going to start, or how are we going to solve it? Okay, so first let's do it as I said. Value at risk solution. Value at risk for Microsoft. So first we will find the chance of loss. Now what is chance of loss? We are going to know how much will be the loss. How to find the chance of loss? To find the chance of loss, or we can say to find the chance of volatility. So if the market is moving, it is volatile. What is the chance of loss or chance of volatility? Okay. So how are we going to find it? The investment is 1 crore and they have given you here, you can see investment 1 crore and daily volatility 2%. That means daily the stock can either fall by 2% or increase by 2%. So we are talking about loss. That means we are assuming the stock is falling daily by 2%. So how much will be the maximum loss? So 1 crore 2% we have to find. 1 crore into 2%. How much? 2 lakh. All of you are there with me. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So first step is to find the volatility, that is of the investment. How much is the daily volatility, which will be given in the question. We have invested 1 crore and the daily volatility is 2%. So this is the chance of loss or volatility. Now we are going to use our table values and all that and find at 99% confidence level. At 99% confidence level, we are going to find the value at risk. So if we have to find the table value, 99% confidence level means it is 99 minus 100 out of 100%, that 1%. So which is equal to minus 1%. So we have to check this minus 1% value in the table, or you can say you're checking minus 0.01, 1% in decimal. If I convert, it is 0.01. We'll check this value in the table. So 0.01 in the table, if I check, I don't have the table to show you right now and you also don't have it. So I've already given you the values here. So that 1% value in the table will be minus 2.33. So if you look at the normal distribution table and check 1%, you will get it as minus 2.33. So this is the table value which we are going to use. Now this was a normal loss 2 lakh and this is the 99% table value. Using this now we can find value at risk. So value at risk for 1 day. They have told you here n is equal to 1 day. Even if it was 10 days, first we will find for 1 day and then we can find it for multiple days. So when you calculate value at risk for the first time, it is always for 1 day. Okay, so how to find it? What I will do is I will take my chance of loss 2 lakh and multiply it with the table value, which is minus 2.33. So 2 lakh into minus 2.33, if I do, the loss that I have is minus 4 lakh 66,000. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. There is a mistake here. N is not 1 day, N is 10 days in the question. So first we'll find value at risk for 1 day. So 2 lakhs into the table value. This is giving me value at risk for 1 day. Now if I want value at risk for 10 days. When I was explaining you the theory, I told you once you find the 1 day value at risk for multiple days can be found. So value at risk for 10 days is equal to value at risk for 1 day, whatever you have found it for 1 day, into square root of n. Square root sign. Just a second, I'll check if I can. I get that sign, it's good because later when you refer, you can. Otherwise, I'll write it in words square root of. Okay. Finding it, I'll check if I can find it later and add it and share the document with you. As of now, I'll write it in words only. Not that far off. Yeah, here it is. So I have got the symbol. Okay. So it is square root of 10 days. So I have to find the square root of 10. So how I'm going to solve? Value at risk for 10 days is equals to value at risk for 1 day we have calculated. How much? Anybody? How much we've calculated?
Minus
Value at
4,66,000.
risk for 1 day is minus 4,66,000 into we'll find the square root of 10 and multiply. So how much is the square root of 10? Just check on your calculators.
3.16.
3.16. Okay. So we'll write the 3.16. 4,66,000 into 3.16.
14,72,560.
14,72,560.
60.
So value at risk for 10 days equals to 14,72,560. Any doubts in how we found out? I'll again repeat it for you to understand. Very first thing is we will see the volatility or chance of loss. We will multiply our investment with the volatility. So 1 crore into 2%, I get my chance of loss or volatility in rupees. Then we'll find the table value at 99% confidence level means 99 minus 100 out of 100%. That 1% I'm not confident. So that 1% I'll see in the table. And once you see it in the table, you get minus 2.33 as table value. So to find value at risk for 1 day, we will multiply our chance of loss 2 lakh rupees into the table value. We'll get the value at risk for 1 day. They have asked us to find value at risk for 10 days. So to find value at risk for 10 days, we will multiply value at risk for 1 day, which we have calculated 4,66,000 into square root of 10 days. So we get 4,66,000 into 3.16 square root of 10 days. So the total loss for 10 days with the portfolio of Microsoft will be 14,72,560. Is that clear? If you have any doubts, let me know. Clear, all of you?
Ma'am, it's minus.
Actually, sign doesn't matter that much, but because we are telling it is loss only. Anyways, we are using the word loss means it is minus. But when we are doing the portfolio value at risk and all, I may not use that minus sign. Later, when we get the final answer, we can just write there as minus. So anyways, it is a loss, so it will be negative. You write it, it's good, but if you forget also, it's okay. The answer is what that matters. Okay, so value at risk for AT&T, similar way we will do it. First, we have to find the chance of loss or volatility. A chance of loss or volatility is equals to whatever is the investment. In AT&T shares, we have invested 50 lakhs. 50 lakhs into the loss or the daily volatility is 1%. So 1 divided by 100. So of 50 lakhs, 1% is 50,000. So this is a value, daily loss or chance of loss. Again, 99% confidence level. So the same thing I'll repeat at 99% confidence level. 100 minus 99. 1 percentile is what? Sorry. 1 percentile is what is the loss? So 1 percentile in the table is 2.33. Now value at risk for 1 day is equals to whatever is the loss that we have got, 50,000 into the table value minus 2.33. So when you multiply, you get minus 1,16,500. Now value at risk for 10 days is equals to the loss for 1 day minus 1,16,500 into square root of 10 days. Okay, so value at risk for 10 days is equals to 1,16,500 into 3.16. If you take all the digits, now you will get more accurate answer. If you take 2 digits, so the answer may vary depending upon how many digits you have taken in the exam. Value at risk for 10 days is equals to, let's see how much you get. One lakh 16,500 into 3.16.
3,68,140.
So this is minus, this is the loss for 10 days on the portfolio of 80 on the stock of AT&T. So we have found out how much will be the maximum loss individually for each stock. Now they have asked you to find the value at risk for the portfolio also. So we will write value at risk for portfolio. And the formula for value at risk at portfolio is the standard deviation of A plus B is equals to square root of, how do I use that sign? Just one.
Ma'am, maybe that sign is in home only.
There in now. The
Yeah, ma'am,
standard
maybe.
deviation sign. But do one square root.
Below the letters it is, ma'am, maybe.
Fine. Here you're telling?
No, ma'am. In home.
Home. Home there.
No.
Maybe in my laptop.
Ma'am, it is just in.
One second, I'll just find it. I'll search it later and insert it. Maybe I'll just write it here now. Standard deviation A plus B is equal to square root of standard deviation of A square this A square, so it should go up plus standard deviation of B square plus 2 into R into standard deviation of A plus standard deviation of B. This is the formula. Okay, and this is all under the square root. So how do we find it? So standard deviation of A plus B, that is the entire portfolio risk we are finding, is equal to square root of. Okay. Now standard deviation is nothing but this volatility, that 2%, 1% volatility which was told, no, that is standard deviation. So we found out in amount also your chance of loss or volatility. 2 lakh rupees is the standard deviation or volatility for Microsoft shares. Now instead of A and B, you can also write Microsoft and AT&T. So if you want, it can be M and A. We are going to find standard deviation of M and A. So those are two companies. In the standard formula, it is A plus B. But in the actual sum when you solve, you can take the company names. 1 second, let's see what's wrong with this. So standard deviation of A plus B or M plus A is equal to square root of standard deviation of M. Let me call it as A for AT&T, M for Microsoft, and A for AT&T. So here M plus A is equals to, now standard deviation of M we have found out of Microsoft, it is 2 lakh, this yellow highlighted. So I have to find in the square root sign, we have to do 2 lakh square. So of 2 lakh, we find the square of this. then we'll do plus standard deviation of AT&T, which is here 50,000. You found out the volatility was 1%. So that volatility, what we found, we'll take that. So plus 50,000 square we'll find. So we're going to find the square of both of this. Okay, then to this we will do plus 2 into R. Now what is R? R is nothing but the correlation which is given in the problem. In the question, the value of correlation is given. So you can see here, the correlation is 0.3. So this is your R value. We are going to take this 0.3 as R, which is the correlation. So 2 into 0.3 into standard deviation of Microsoft, which is 2 lakh, plus standard deviation of AT&T, which is 50,000. So we're going to okay, so how to solve this? Standard deviation of M plus A, that is Microsoft plus AT&T, is equals to square root of, first you find the 2 lakh square. So 2 lakh square, just a second, it's not plus here, also it's into, sorry. So we're going to multiply all of this. 2 into 0.3 into 2 lakh into 50,000. And then we are going to find 2 lakh square and 50,000 square. So 2 lakh square comes to 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 zeros plus 50,000 square. Gets 25, 8 zeros plus 2 into 0.3 into 2 lakh into 50,000. 6 and 9 zeros. And the deviation of M plus A is equals to square root of, we'll add all this 3 and find its square root. Get 48, 5, 8 zeros. If you find the square root of this, it is 2,20,000 to 27. How many of you have tried? I don't know, but this is the answer that you will get. Is anybody trying it with the scientific calci or the normal calci?
Ma'am, I'm getting different answer.
Like 20.
Ma'am, 2,20,000 to
Ma'am, it's 2,20,000 to 27.
15.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharvari, just try it once again. Maybe you have missed out on certain zeros or something. So you might be getting like this. But this should be the answer of the portfolio. So this is nothing but value at risk for 1 day.
Okay, ma'am.
Sorry. Yeah, this is the loss for 1 day. We want to find value at risk for 1 day. So to find the value at risk, what we do? We take the loss and multiply it with the table value. So loss 2,20,227.15 into the table value at 99% confidence level was minus 2.33. Value at risk for 1 day is equals to 2,20,227. So this is comma, not points. 2,20,227.15 into minus 2.33. You get minus 5,13,129.
129.
I like 13,129.25.
25.
Okay. So this is value at risk for 1 day. If we want value at risk for 10 days, we have to do minus 5,13,129.25 into square root of 10 square root of 10 days. See what answer you get. Anybody? 5,13,129.25 into square root of 10 days was 3.16.
Ma'am, 16,21,488.43.
88.43. So this is the
Yes,
value
ma'am.
at risk for 10 days. Now you have taken 2 digits, that is 3.16. So it is coming like this. When I took all the digits, I got 16,22,657. So the more number of the decimals you take, after the decimal you take the digits, the more accurate answer you get. So maybe we'll take 4 digits from the next sum onwards. So we get a little more accurate. So this was the first problem, and how to find the value at risk for single securities and how to find it for the portfolio. Any doubts still here? Is that clear with all of you? Yes, no? Was that clear? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that clear? The problem was understood? Yes or no? Tomorrow we'll continue with the next sums. So I have around 7 sums. Tomorrow I'll complete them because they are not that big and you have understood the first sum. So tomorrow it will go a little easy. So we'll continue it in the next class. You can type your USN numbers and leave if you have no doubts. If you have doubts, you can ask.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.